Hey there, and welcome back to another episode of Worth a Listen, a financial podcast for your everyday life. I'm your host, Chris Haney, and today, as we travel down the journey and the road of purchasing your new vehicle, our next stop is going to be at the dealership. Joining me today to have a conversation about what to do at the dealership, what questions, how to pick the dealership, and so much more. Today is Eilleen French. Hey, Eilleen, how are you doing?
Hey, Chris, doing good. How are you?
Good. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you do in your professional career.
My name's Eilleen French. I am the consumer lending manager here at Texell Credit Union, and I get to oversee our underwriting, our loan processing, and our loan support teams.
Excellent. So the reason why I wanted you to join me for this conversation is you lead a very big credit union's lending department, and a majority, I would say, or how much of your lending is directed towards auto loans?
I would say about 70% of ours is directed towards auto loans, so it is a big part of what Texell does here.
And so I would consider you to maybe be a little bit of an expert in the automotive dealerships. Kind of, you've seen the game, you've been inside and on our end, or the credit and finance end. But talk to me a little bit about your experience on the dealership end.
So as far as the dealerships go, we get to see both, on our indirect side when we had indirect, we get to see what the dealerships do. And then on our side with the loan processing team, we get to handle the back end for it, make payments to the dealerships. And on the personal side, obviously, had a couple of vehicles of my own, so dealing with them going through the whole process itself too. So
Yeah, and that's another point too, is as we experienced folks, we've purchased quite a few vehicles, I guess, in our lifetime. I feel like we have some important information and knowledge to pass down to some of our younger generations who may be getting their first vehicle. Dealerships aren't all the same, are they?
correct.
So tell us a little bit about the differences in the dealerships consumers may see out in the market.
So you do have an array of dealerships as far as like franchise setup. So you're talking like your Fords, your Chevys, Toyotas, and then you have some mom and pop setups as well. When we are working through our side and trying to get pre-approvals, and I'm probably trying to get ahead of it a little bit, but we do tend to focus more on our franchise dealerships working through Texell. But you will see some mom and pops out there who maybe only have one location, or you do have others that are part of the bigger franchise, so your bigger names.
So when you say like franchise, not that I necessarily want to call out a specific franchise, but you're saying that a Ford dealership here in our area could also have the same Ford dealership in another area.
Correct.
Typically, how big are franchises?
They're pretty big. I mean,
Okay.
they go based off of the whatever brand name that they are behind. So, like I said, your Chevys, your Fords, I'm sure you've seen them around.
Sure.
So those are going to be your franchises.
What's the difference between you just spoke about franchises. Tell me a little bit more about those mom and pop shops. What do those look like?
So those are typically going to be some of the smaller dealerships that you see driving down the road. Typically we'll just have like a name, somebody's family name probably, or just a name. They're not usually backed by like so-and-so's Fords or, a Chevy dealership. It's just going to be one that has somebody's name or a name that they've given. And they probably have a lot of used vehicles on the lots. You'll see a lot of those big signage, probably some stuff to like stop here, finance here, things along those lines.
Maybe advertising those second chance financing deals. Maybe I
Correct.
got it. I
Correct.
know exactly what you're talking about here. And they don't have new cars. Those mom and pop dealerships, do they typically deal with new vehicles?
No, they typically are just used autos
Okay.
that they have.
Okay. Is there any advantages maybe to go into a mom and pop?
I think if you have some history and credit and it's not too good of credit, then those are a lot of places where people do lean towards. If they have financing here, they tend to be able to approve more than.
I see. So maybe one of those suggestions, if it is a situation where maybe you're having trouble getting approved at a chain or a larger dealership, maybe go visit one of these smaller dealerships and see if they can't make a deal with you there.
They can't. I mean, typically that's where people go who have not so great credit. If they're trying to rebuild, if they've had a repossession in their past, a lot of times you'll see those types of places being able to approve because they finance on site.
Okay. I don't think there's like a third class of dealerships, maybe. Not really, maybe third class, but folks that only sell used vehicles and are no haggle pricing. We all know that one shop. It's blue. It's right down the road. So those type of
Gotcha.
dealerships, tell me a
Yeah.
little bit about those.
So those types of dealerships are we do work with them here at Texell. We will finance vehicles from them, but those vehicles are coming. Somebody came in, sold their vehicle to them, and they're going to sell it to the next person. Obviously, there's money to be made, so usually it's at a higher price on those types of vehicles. So you definitely want to do your research when you're looking at your CarMaxes, your Carvanas, online shopping. That's the thing now, so that's where Carvana comes in.
I see. Yeah,
Yep.
and we did hit on that a little bit in a previous episode where we talked about how to find those vehicles and what to look out for in new and used. So thank you for that.
Mhm.
All right, so let's talk about dealerships and what to expect there. So I go into a dealership and I walk in. What am I looking at when I walk in? I see the brand new shiny cars right on the inside. What are those vehicles?
Those are your showcase vehicles,
What's a
and
showcase
so
vehicle?
those are the vehicles that are going to catch your eye. They put their prettiest, newest vehicles up in the showcase area so that you walk in and we are people of habits and we want nice, pretty things. And you might have thought going in, hey, I like the one that's out front, but when you walk in, you see this one. Um, Chances are probably there's going to be a good increase on the price that's on the inside one. But yes, that is usually the first thing that you see is their showcase vehicles when you walk into the dealership.
Okay. And so when I go onto the lot on a dealership, am I needing to kind of cipher through what's used, what's new? How do I locate what vehicles that are new or used?
Um, More than likely, a salesman person is going to come up to you as soon as you walk into a dealership. Usually, as soon as you park, you see the guys standing outside. They will kind of talk about who's next, and you can see it happening if you know. And then that person, whoever's up, will come towards you to start talking to you. What are you looking for? What can we help you with? And at that point is when you kind of want to already be prepared to know what you're looking for. Most dealerships will have their used section or their pre-owned is going to be labeled, and then their new section will also be labeled. So when you go into the lot, you definitely want to know where you're going. Most of them are all split up already. You can see where their new stuff is and where their pre-owned is.
Well, you mentioned something else there too. I have personal opinions about it, but you said as soon as I drive in, open up my car door, someone's going to be there to greet me. Is that, give me your opinion. Is that a good thing? Do you want to interact with a sales representative immediately upon entering the lot?
So I feel like it's going to be dependent on what your comfortability is. I know what I want typically. So when I go to a dealership, I've already researched. I'm going to that dealership because I know they have what I want. But if you're going as a new first time car buyer, it is good to have somebody guide you, but you have to be able to have your guard up because they are salesmen. That's what their job is. Their job is to sell you on what they have. And if something is not on the lot that you like or that you want or you're not sure of, their job is to kind of guide you into something that you are going to be, that you're interested in. And you don't want to have buyer's remorse. So just making sure that you are comfortable when you get there to talk to that person. If you don't know what you're looking for, they are a good source of information, but you really want to have at least somewhat of a general idea what you're doing when you're getting to that lot.
What if I don't have a general idea? What if I'm just, hey, I'm not even sure what's out there in the market. It's about to be, 2027 models are going to be coming out soon, and I just want to go see some models. Is this going to be something I can just walk onto a dealership and take a look at different models?
Most of them will probably be locked, but so you will have to have a sales agent be able to open them for you, but you can be honest with them. I'm not sure if I'm in the market yet. I know the new models are coming out. I want to see what's out there and what's available. They are usually pretty good about saying, okay, I'll open a few for you. I mean, they're salesmen, so you don't want to waste their time also, but they are going to talk to you and they're going to engage and try and fill out where you are in your process of buying and if you are actually going to want to eventually purchase. So they will poke a little bit to see what's going on.
Okay. Well, are there things that you would suggest before I even go onto a dealership lot? Are there things that you suggest I should bring or have ready or know before even stepping foot at that dealership?
I would definitely make sure that you are wanting to move forward because once you get there, again, you don't want to have buyer's remorse. We are people of instant gratification nowadays. Everything comes so quick. So when you get there, if you see something that you like, you want to know, am I getting a good deal? Have you done any research on this type of vehicle? Does the vehicle have any common problems that happen with it? Because, I mean, it is a machine, so it does have some stuff that will eventually go wrong with it. And am I getting a deal? Do I know the value of this vehicle? So you want to kind of have a broad perspective of what type of vehicle you're going into. If you're thinking about getting an SUV and you walk up and see a truck, I would probably dial a step back or two and say, hey, let me do some research on this truck because my brain was set on SUVs and now this truck looks really cool. So
I see. Okay. Well, I guess one of the things that's probably pretty important, obviously, like you said, is knowing what you want.
mm,
But you mentioned, knowing if there's any common problems. If I'm purchasing a new vehicle, where would I go to find if this new vehicle has common problems? And would I even know if a brand new vehicle is going to have common problems?
so you can look in JD Power. JD Power does give you a really good indication of like value and things on the actual model itself. The newer models, obviously, when they come out, they usually come out the year prior or towards the end of the year prior. And so by the time you're going, unless you're that first person on the lot, you got to have that brand new iPhone or you'll definitely have some type of data to be able to look at. And you can research those on JD Power will give you some really good information. But definitely want to research to see, what type of problems that model has.
Okay. So you mentioned JD Power, and that's not the first time I've heard JD Power being one of the a great place for you to go to assess value and those kind of common issues that happen with your vehicle. Are there any other places that you can go to research the vehicle that you're looking to purchase?
I know a lot of people use KBB, but
Okay.
you'll hear some people talk about Blue Book and Black Book.
What's
But
KBB?
it's Kelly Blue Book.
Okay.
But we here at the credit union use JD Power.
Okay.
So when we're looking to help our members value their vehicles, their trade-ins, anything along those lines, we use JD Power. So they're top of the line right now. So we definitely lean towards that. That's the one that anytime I would talk to my members and tell them, hey, look at the vehicle in JD Power to see what it's valued at.
And when I look at the vehicle in JD Power, can I put like the VIN number of the vehicle in and it will give me every spec I need?
It doesn't give you every spec.
Okay.
Your window sticker is going to be the best form of information on what the vehicle actually has on it, because a lot of times the VIN number will say, okay, I went ahead and added a trim model or I, added some stuff to it. Those things can be looked at on that window sticker, but the VIN
Okay.
will pull up the basics to it.
Okay.
Most of the specs, but
So what about on used vehicles at a dealership? Obviously, I want to know if that vehicle has been maintained.
mhm.
I want to know if that vehicle's been in wrecks. Is that something the dealership's going to tell me?
So if the dealership is reputable, then they should be able to provide you a Carfax, and that will show you everything on it. Anytime you've taken your vehicle to a certified mechanic, anytime you've taken it to get the oil change done, it's listed on Carfax, and then also any type of if there's been any accidents, then we can see if there's any recalls on that as well. So it's a good source. Most dealerships provide the Carfax form
Okay.
on used vehicles.
You said recall.
Mhm.
What is a recall specifically on a vehicle?
So a manufacturer's recall is something that the manufacturer has deemed in all of X models that has gone bad or they didn't do something correctly and they're recalling it to fix it. For example, I had an Equinox and I went to get the oil change and they said, hey, there's a recall on your vehicle for your windshield wipers. Windshield wipers, what? And sure enough, all I did was Google it, and there it was that they had deemed that something was wrong with the windshield wiper, and I needed to go. I called the dealership, set up an appointment. They came, they fixed it, and
And you were in for an oil change?
I was in for an
You know,
oil
it's a
change.
funny story. The same thing kind of happened to me, but it was with my Dodge Journey. I was getting an oil change, and it was the radio. The radio had some recall on it, and I got a brand new radio, and the map package on the radio was up to date.
Nice.
It was like 2 years not up to date, and so some of the construction around here, it just the navigation was all wonky. But yeah, they replaced it for me right there with my oil change, and it was great. So, although I didn't know about that recall, do consumers do we get notice if recalls are happening on our vehicles?
So you should. I don't
Okay.
know if you purchased your vehicle and then moved, but I did get a notice in the mail, and I was like, it's a windshield wiper. And I, you know,
Oh, you do like a lot of us. Yeah, I get it. So I get that mail and I'm like, oh, junk mail.
it's
And
junk
just
mail.
throw it
Yep.
away. Okay. Yeah, I get it.
So they do mail. You'll get mailers from, whatever.
So now that we've kind of gotten some information about the vehicle, we're at the dealership, we're talking to the salesperson. What are some things that I need to, I guess, consider as I am engaging with this salesperson? I guess in the back of my mind, what are some of the things I need to be considering?
So you should always be, if you're already in the process, I'm going to buy, I know I'm going to buy a vehicle. Now I'm trying to find the vehicle that I want. You should know your basics of what you're going to pay. What is the max amount that I'm going to be able to pay for this vehicle? And be transparent. You don't want to have your salesperson, showing you a $50,000 vehicle when your max is 30. It's just out. It puts you in a bad spot. One, you're going to see the vehicle. It's probably got tons of bells and whistles on it compared to a $30,000 vehicle who might have some, or it could be a whole different model of what you were thinking you were going to get. But you should know exactly what your max amount out the door is. You should be able to know what vehicle type that you are looking for, and make sure that you are comfortable telling them to keep you within that range,
Okay.
because they can try and guide outside of, it's not, they're here to sell and they're going to tell you, oh, well, this model might be better. You don't know. But make sure that you are comfortable telling them to keep you within that range.
So I'm a new consumer. I may not have bought a vehicle before. Maybe this is my second vehicle because I'm coming right out of college. My parents bought my first one, but now it's on me. I'm not money savvy. How do I know what I can afford? I'm assuming it's not always just, oh, I can afford a $250, $300 monthly payment in my budget. I can go find a car for that amount. How do I know as a consumer, a young consumer, how do I know what I can afford?
Well, you definitely want to put it towards your budget. You don't want this to go over a certain amount of budget that you have. And you want to make sure that you're considering in there your insurance cost as well.
Okay.
So if you're
Well, is
gonna
there
be
any
pulling-
like finance professionals that I can speak with that will like educate me and say, hey, I'm looking at your situation and you've given me some information and I reasonably feel that you could put yourself in an X $1,000 car and it'd be okay.
that we want you to come to us to get pre-qualified,
Okay.
because you're going to show up at the dealership already knowing what your max payment is. So
Is that what I just asked you to do for me is pre-qualify?
yes.
So tell me a little bit about the pre-qualification process when it comes to, even before I go to the dealership, tell me about the pre-qualification process.
So what you would do is you would, Texell.org, you'd apply for your auto loan through Texell.org. You can call in, you can come into a branch. And from that point, that application is going to go to a loan officer who's going to review it. They'll probably call you, talk to you about, what you're looking for, especially if you're a first-time car buyer, what you're looking for, if you have a down payment, what types of vehicles that you're looking into, and then that would go to our underwriters. Our underwriters would then take a look at it and see what makes sense for our first-time car buyer. Are they Is their payment to income, does it make sense for them? The amount that they're asking for, does it make sense? If you come to us and say, I'm a first time car buyer and, I'm making $3,000 a month, I want a $50,000 vehicle. Does that make sense? Because we are a financial institution that is backing you, we want to make sure we're putting you in a good spot. So we would not do something along those lines.
Okay. And so with a pre-qualification or pre-authorization, I guess, process, does that hit my credit any? Do you doing anything to my credit that's going to affect it in the pre-qualification?
So it is a hard credit pool.
Okay.
We do run it fully for you when you do apply online. It does affect your credit for a short period of time. So a lot of times people will say, oh, it's going to ding my credit. Unfortunately, the bureaus have said it where if you're going to use it, it's going to ding it for a short period.
Is there a way I can interact with loan officers and professionals like yourself to where you can give me a estimate without having to pull my credit?
So Texell does not do that, mainly because we don't want to give false hope. So we don't know what we can approve you for if we don't have the full scope. So we don't typically do like an estimate or anything like that for our members. If you're coming to us and you are serious, our loan officers will talk to you and go over, all of the details of what you're looking for. And then, obviously they're going to guide you through, hey, we are going to pull credit. Are you okay with that? But
Well, when you pull credit, I know there's a difference between a soft hit and a hard hit. Is a pre-authorization a soft or a hard hit?
it is a hard hit.
It is a hard hit. Explain to me real quick, please, what the difference is between a hard hit and a soft hit to your credit.
So the hard pull on the credit is us actually pulling your credit bureau. So we will pull the bureaus to see what we can approve you for. A soft credit pull is going to be similar to like your some of the apps that you might have with a credit card, or even some of the apps that you might have with your financial institution. They do provide a soft version of it. It is not accurate. It is not as accurate as a full hard credit pull.
Okay.
So you can most banks provide, or some of the apps and credit cards will provide you with a soft version of your credit. It's just not as accurate.
Okay. So when I'm getting pre-authorized, I'm not even at the dealership. Like you said, we'll bring this full circle. You're telling me, hey, we can get you approved for this amount. And you're giving me a dollar amount that says, hey, if you go buy a car, if you're within this price range, then you can afford this vehicle.
Mhm.
So I'm going to take that information. I'm going to go to the dealership with that information. Now I can go look for a vehicle within my range,
Mhm.
correct? Give me some hope here, or give me some strategy. I want to get a car. It's $42,000, and my sales representative that I'm talking to keeps pushing me towards that $50,000 car. Keeps nudging me closer and closer to maybe something with a better trim package. Am I allowed to push back to the sales representative?
100%.
Okay. Let's talk about that a little bit in interacting with sales representatives, because I think one of the things that we as consumers get intimidated at the dealership is that professional sitting across the table from us. I think I don't want to waste your time, but I don't want you wasting my time. And now that I've sat with you for an hour talking to you, me backing out is going to feel bad for me, right? Give me some positive motivation here. Tell me why it's okay for me to back out of this deal if this salesperson just isn't giving me what I want.
So you have to think about it as a vehicle is typically the second largest purchase that an individual makes. So you have to go in there again, confident in understanding that this is what I want. You're the one who's making the payments. You are the one who's going to be washing that car, and you're going to be the one who's maintaining that car. You have to make sure that this is what you want at the end of the day.
You're going to be sitting in that car for years. You better be happy with where you're sitting.
Exactly.
What you're sitting on as well.
Right.
I agree.
And it can be intimidating when you're sitting across from somebody and they're telling you, but what about this package? When you have those pre-qualifications and that final number, we'll say you said it was 42,000, right? If this trim package is at 50, we've already pre-qualified you and shown you, hey, these are your numbers for 42,000. This is what you're approved at. This is your interest rate. being able to show that to your salesman and saying, I've been pre-qualified by my credit union for this amount, and I'm sticking to what I've been pre-qualified for because these are the vehicles that I was already interested in. I've done the research on, and I know what the cost is for them.
Okay. So as a loan officer, when you look at some of these items on the back end, you know, as a consumer, I kind of want to know what you need from me or what you're looking at to establish what I can afford outside of kind of my income. What are some of the things that I need to have available for you, know in my head or have prepared when I am looking for that pre-authorization so I can go back to the dealership and be confident?
So as part of the process, we are going to ask for income.
Okay.
And so you definitely want to know what you're making on the gross side.
Okay.
And more than likely, we will request proof of income. So,
Are all income the same?
no.
So talk to me about all incomes not being the same. Why are incomes not all the same?
So you want, as far as like the separate types of income for your employers, if you're receiving any type of child support, Social Security, VAs, those are all different types of incomes that we typically see coming in. We need to verify them. So we will request verification of income. So you want to make sure you know all of the different types of income that you have and separate it out. So for example, if you're working and you're receiving, 2,000 gross on that income monthly, we want to know that. And then you're receiving, some type of VA disability, and that's another 1,500. So you want to make sure you know the different types of income that you're receiving and the amounts per month.
I'm a gig worker. I make 1099 work. Tell me a little bit about my 1099 money.
So your 1099, we do look at that a little bit differently because you are paying out your taxes on your own at the end of the year. But we still request income based off of your tax return. So you want to make sure that you know what you made annually.
Okay.
And then for us to be able to look at those tax returns and decipher them.
I know sometimes we do consider 1099 money, if you will, income to be a little bit different. I know, so in my personal life, there is some 1099 income in our family. And I believe the last time I went to look for a loan, there was a certain amount of time that the loan officer was looking for that we have had 1099 income to be able to include that. Is that still something that's true in a car buying situation?
Correct. So your
Okay.
income, 1099, self-employed, we are going to typically look for 2 years worth of tax returns
Okay.
for us to be able to prove the income on those types of employees.
Okay. And so what happens if I don't have quite the credit history? Maybe I almost have the income. Maybe I don't quite have enough down payment. Are there ways that I can help improve myself by getting approved?
So at that point, we would typically ask for a qualified co-borrower.
Oh,
Or
explain that to me. What
qual-
is a qualified co-buyer?
qualified co-borrower is going to be somebody within your household that has experience with lending on the auto side. And so you want somebody who's had good payment history. We typically look towards parents for this, especially when you're a first-time car buyer. We'll ask, is there a qualified co-borrower? Doesn't necessarily have to be a parent, but that's something that we do typically look at does this person have experience with auto loans that they're making payments on time? Can this person handle this auto loan should this first-time car buyer default on it? Can this person take this loan on? So that's typically what we look for in a qualified co-borrower.
Default?
Default.
Explain default.
So default is going to be if our member does not make payments on this auto loan.
Then the co-borrower has to,
So
'cause
they
they're
are.
co-signing on that
Oh
loan,
yeah,
aren't they?
they are equally as responsible for the auto loan as the primary. So that's why we request a qualified co-borrower, because it kind of gives us just a little bit more security behind that this payment is going to be made.
So co-borrowers, alert, beware. Make sure that you know who you are co-signing for.
We typically lean in on parents a lot for these
Okay.
first-time car buyers because most of the time they still do live with parents, and so it kind of gives us that security that they are going to make the payments.
Okay. And then are there anything else that's going to help me get authorized or approved for that loan? You mentioned down payment in earlier conversations. What's so important about down payments when it comes to purchasing a vehicle?
So your down payment as an underwriter, it kind of gives us that like skin in the game. Like this person definitely wants this vehicle. They've put their money aside, they've saved, and they have their little nest egg that they are putting forward to be able to put towards this car. But not only does it help us as an underwriter, but it helps the loan to value on the vehicle. So we do look at, the amount that you're requesting versus the value of that vehicle. And anytime you can bring that number down or closer to so you're not negative, it does help as well.
Okay, perfect. Well, Eileen, I really want to continue this conversation, but we need to take a little break. So the next time we come back, I do want to hit into maybe a little bit more actionable items at the dealership, how to negotiate with that sales representative, what to do as far as testing out that vehicle. So all of these items I want to bring you back on if you'll come back on and chat with me about, okay?
Sounds good.
Perfect.
All right.
All right, folks. Well, there you have it. Special thanks to Eilleen for coming on and joining me for this conversation. We'll look forward to seeing her again next time. But folks, as always, I'm Chris Haney. I'm your host of Worth a Listen, and I hope today was worth your time.